Hello, Tom here again to take you on a mystical and thrilling journey through time. Well, time according to Dreamcast magazine from Paragon Publishing. This is issue number 7, which was available to buy on the 30th of March 2000. And as you can see, the main cover story is MDK2. We've got Sega GT also mentioned here because it's reviewed, and Tomb Raider 4, or Tomb Raider The Last Revelation, which was previewed in issue 6, which was the last one I did, funnily enough. So let's get on with it. As per usual, we have the editorial there from Simon Phillips, the editor, and the contents page split over 2 pages, which is a bit odd because these days in magazines it's generally over, it's kind of like a double page thing, whereas here it's split over 2. So let's carry on. Getting on with it. This is Newscast. So Newscast, if you've seen any other issues, other videos in this series, is where they do all the previews and look at upcoming games for the Dreamcast. Episode 1 Racer is a really good game for the N64. I've not played it on the PC, but I've also played it on the Dreamcast, and it's a great game. Obviously, it hadn't come out at this point, so this is just a preview. It does say here that the release was to coincide with the Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace release on VHS, so it just kind of shows you, how times change. Moving on, we've got some news here about Soul Calibur 2 coming to the Naomi with Namco, and some more little stories here. The Choo Choo Rocket tournament going on in the United States at the time, and Bust a Move coming to the Dreamcast. This story here in the bottom right hand corner is about something that happened at the time in the UK. There's a TV show called Watchdog, which takes consumer issues and approaches the companies that have had the complaints made against them. And apparently, I don't personally remember it, but according to this article, Watchdog took to Sega's claims about having online gaming in the UK when the Dreamcast came out. Obviously, as we know now, it didn't, and as we knew then, it didn't either. So that's just a little story there about that. Moving on, we've got a little preview here of Roadsters, which is one of the worst games on the Dreamcast in my opinion, along with Spirit of Speed. And then one thing I will mention about this particular issue is that there are a lot of competitions on pretty much every other page in the previews at forecast section. There's a little competition, so this one was to win some Soul Fighter merchandise, which amounts to a hoodie and a backpack with Soul Fighter logo on the back. Be interested to find out what happened to those if you are watching this, but in the most minuscule chance that you are the person who won these items and you're watching this video, let me know, please. That would be quite interesting. Moving on, Black and White previewed. In later editions of this magazine, or later issues even, there is a development diary of Black and White, and it goes into quite in-depth, analysis of the game, and for all intents and purposes, it was pretty much a guaranteed game coming, and then it just went quiet all of a sudden. But this is an update on the game's development with an interview with Peter Molyneux, who's the head of Lionhead Development Studio. We've got some more information here on Galleon and Warcraft 3. Another competition over there. That's to win a copy of Wild Metal. Okay, Japanese and American news. Probably the biggest story here is that there's an arcade operators union event going on in Japan at the time. So there was quite a few new games announced. A few tiny little screenshots here, and also some information on the new multicoloured VMUs that were released around this time in Japan. New story there about Virtual On and E3 on the horizon in the US. Moving on, another competition, this time to win some Tomb Raider graphic novels and a Tech Romancer preview. Weirdly, this one was actually reviewed in the previous issue as Kakao, I believe it's pronounced, and got quite a decent review score, so that's just the PAL version being previewed there. And then the Most Wanted section here, you got Black and White, Power Stone 2 and Quake 3 Arena. Okay, this, excuse me, This thing here is basically Dreamcast magazine and all the other magazines that were coming out of Paragon, like Power Station, for example, and 64 magazine. They were all tied together with a website called TotalGames.net, and they did this the top 100 games of the millennium, asking people to vote on the website for the top 100 games. And I'll just quick. It's not particularly Dreamcast related. There's hardly any Dreamcast games actually in this top 100. Obviously, the system was quite young at this point. But GoldenEye came out on top for the N64. We got Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation, Gran Turismo PlayStation, Resident Evil 2, etc., etc., etc. I think the only Dreamcast exclusive on this entire list, well, the highest one placed is the House of the Dead 2. There's a couple of like PC and Dreamcast ones. Oh wait a minute, that's a lie. You've got Soul Calibur there as well. But yeah, that's just a little aside. Okay, more Dreamcast related stuff. I've never heard of this thing before. It's called Millia 2000. It's another game show that was held in Cannes in France. You might be able to find some information on it if you Google it, but it's just saying that there were a lot of games there from Take-Two Interactive. Got Hidden and Dangerous and Grand Theft Auto 2, Wacky Races, a couple of screenshots there. And then down here we've got the first images of the digital camera, also known as the Dream Eye, and the headset that came with it being showcased. Nice preview there of Dragon's Blood, which is a decent Roman hack and slash type game. And then we've got some more competitions here. You've got one here to win a Buffy the Vampire VHS box set. And then down here there's a Scooby-Doo magazine or book thing that you can win by answering some more questions. I don't know what it's got to do with the Dreamcast. They must have just had this stuff lying around the office and wanted to get rid of it. There's that Soulfighter advert again, which we've seen a million times already. Resident Evil Code Veronica preview, some more modes that have been revealed. Battle mode, for example, first person. And then we've got the release schedules down here. There's a couple of interesting games listed on this one, actually, this month. You've got Virtua Fighter 4, late 2000 for the UK. And also animated Batman Vehicle Adventures, early 2001. There's a couple of other ones as well. There's Independence War 2, Take the Bullet, Major League Soccer from Konami, whatever that was, who knows. And then in the American one, you've got the usual things like Star Trek New Worlds and Dark Angel, and one here that's quite interesting, which is again from Konami, Combat Flight Simulator. Never heard of that one before. Okay, let's move on. Preview here of Silver, another set of competitions. We've got some Joytech peripherals to give away here. Not me personally, but the magazine, obviously. And a competition to win I think it must be, it's a DVD. It's a DVD of South Park, bigger, longer and uncut. Not sure how many people had DVD players back then, but yeah, if you did, then that was a competition worth entering. Interesting, I remember buying a DVD player probably around this time, and the only film I had for it was that Mel Gibson film, Conspiracy Theory. And yeah, I watched that and I thought, why have I bought this DVD player? Do I actually need it? No, was the answer. Anyway, move on. Newscast. Armada 2 rumoured, or in development. Armada's a great top-down space shooter if you've not played it. Worth checking out. We've got Half-Life 2 here, an update. Hidden and Dangerous, update. And another competition down here to win some Street Fighter figures and Digimon things. Okay, moving on to the previews. We've got Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. It's got its fans. I'm not one of them. We have mentioned it on the Dream Pod a few times. Looks great. This is quite interesting. I didn't actually realise this was in the magazine until I looked at it prior to doing this video about 10 minutes ago. This is all about the Nomad Soul, and obviously with the recent passing of David Bowie, or David Bowie, however you pronounce it, I just thought it was quite appropriate and a bit random. But this is like an in-depth look at the development of the Nomad Soul, and there's quite a bit about Bowie himself and his involvement with the game. So that's quite interesting. There's quite a few like reviews of his albums and things, and some images of him going through his whatever stage that was of his career. Big advert. And then this is an arcade show that was going on in London at the time. So one of the journalists, Alex Warren, went down to have a look at some of the new arcade games that could potentially be coming to the Dreamcast. As I've mentioned in past videos, this magazine was quite fond of going and looking at arcade games and speculating wildly that they may be coming to the Dreamcast. You know, sometimes they were right, sometimes they were wrong. We've got Sega Marine Fishing, Virtua NBA, Sega F355, Virtua Tennis, Jambo Safari, and 18-wheeler. Again, some of those did come to the Dreamcast, as we know. Emergency Ambulance, Brave Firefighters, and Fish Life, one I've never heard of before. Some stuff here from Midway. We've got Rush 2049, Off-Road Thunder. I think that became Four-Wheel Thunder. I could be wrong. Or was at least a basis for it. This is interesting because I spoke about this in one of the previous, I think it was issue 5, which had the Dead or Alive 2 cast on the front. It was something to do with, you know, like how women are portrayed in games. There's been all that stuff recently with like Gamergate and all that kind of stuff. And this just shows that it's not a new thing. It's been going on for ages, and this is an article on that subject. So it's just really how women are portrayed in games. Interestingly, they've got the Zelda character there because there was that whole thing at the time with the N64 advert, which was "Will thou gets the girl, or will thou play like one?" which Nintendo got really like badly slapped on the wrist for. So yeah, there's a couple of female characters there from games, and it's just really just talking about how they're portrayed again, as I say. Ironically, you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about. As we move into the review section, the main headline review here is Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. And as soon as you get past the intro section, you've got this image down here, which is completely at odds with what they were talking about in that previous feature about the portrayal of women in games. I know that's an image from the game, and again, I'm not like a raging feminist or anything, but I just found it quite kind of ironic, really. Not a fan of Tomb Raider, to be honest. I've not played the brand new one on the new consoles, but the older ones like this, I just thought they were really lazy PlayStation ports or PC ports, whatever they were. But they thought differently in the magazine. It's got 88%. Tomb Raider: Last Revelation. Moving on, we've got MDK2, which is a great game, if a little difficult. And this one got 90%. This was actually a really good time to be a Dreamcast owner because you got so many new games coming out, and they were all really high quality, apart from Tomb Raider. But we'll leave that. Just my opinion. Rayman 2 is another one. 3D adventure game. Very, very good. Looks really good as well. And that got 92%. Here we have Wild Metal, which was a prize in a competition earlier in the magazine. I quite like this graphic here. It's just showing some different sizes, comparisons between different robots. You've got like an ABC Warrior and C-3PO, the Terminator. I don't think they're actually to scale because I think the ABC Warrior is a lot bigger than that in Judge Dredd, but I'll let it lie for now. This one got 58%, and rightly so. It's not the best game, and it's one of them games that I can't play because it doesn't run in any of my Dreamcasts. None of the copies run. I've done an article about it on the Dreamcast Junkyard. Go and check it out if you're interested. It's also a bit rot and stuff like that. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, a 2D fighting game with a hell of a lot of content. Not one that I've played extensively, but it's still quite good. That got 71%. Sega GT, this was an import at the time. It hadn't come out in the UK yet, so people weren't able to really play it and make their own decisions on whether or not it was worth the 92% given. I would say that it's probably not worth 92%, just because the car handling is so floaty and bouncy, and I'm not a big fan of it. But it looks decent. Certainly looks good on the VGA anyway. Import reviews we've got Dance Dance Revolution Second Mix 93%, Tokyo Bus Guide 82%, Super Magnetic Neo 71%, D2 60%, and which is surprising because it's usually lauded as quite a good game, D2, and Rainbow Cotton 69%. I've not actually played that. It's a bizarre Japanese RPG that I probably would never be able to play anyway. Impenetrable. And then just onto the solutions and the sort of the interaction sections. Soul Fighter gets a walkthrough. I'm not entirely sure why. You just kind of move left and right and smash the A button. That's what I do anyway. That's probably why I can't get very far in it. I might make use of this at some point in the near future. Sega Bass Fishing. How to catch the biggest fish. And then Oh, this is interesting. Dial a game, basically. How to get your Dreamcast games. Don't go down to the shop. Dial one of these numbers, put your credit card details in, and it gets delivered to your house. Yeah. Okay, and now the interact section. Letters, as is the norm. Note the lack of high scores. That's gone. And reader reviews, we've got Virtua Striker 2, 94%, Power Stone, 60%, Ready to Rumble, 91%, and Bangai-O, 92%. The usual internet section where they tell you what to go and have a look at with your Dreamcast browser. Again, quite appropriate. There's some David Bowie stuff there. And yeah, some information on the future of music with Lara Croft there spinning some tunes on the decks. This is MP3 because it was obviously in its infancy back when this magazine came out in the at the turn of the century, shall we say. The top 10 nastiest monsters on the Dreamcast. Number 1 are zombies, apparently. So there you go. Voldo also makes an appearance in there. I don't think he's a very nasty monster. I just think he's a bit confused. Directory, DVD reviews, American Pie, Romeo and Juliet, and some CD reviews here. We've got Meredith Brooks, Boss Hogg, Death in Vegas, and this is the gadget section. I quite like looking at this just because of all the antiquated technology. It's interesting actually that this is a time that we're coming towards like VR and the Oculus and all that kind of thing. And there's this really early thing here, which is like a basically you can watch films and TV through it, and it's meant to like blow the image up so it looks like a massive cinema screen right in front of your face. Not sure how how good that was because I never used one. We've got phone, a voice recorder that looks like a Nokia 3310, and just some other random tap from the era really. Digital camcorder there, plasma TV, and just watches that you'd probably find on eBay now for like 50p or something. Okay, next issue, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer reviewed. A really weird dodgy advert for this thing called Boys with the Toys, or Wilrons, where you were meant to ring them up and ask them their opinion of games, and if you liked their opinion, then you could buy games off them. It's just really embarrassingly, it's just badly written. It's terrible. I'll put a scan on the website. Yeah, and then Dream Moment at the end. It's Biohazard Code Veronica when you first meet the zombie or the tyrant, which can like stretch its arms and hit you from the other side of the screen, which is very annoying. And yeah, issue 8 on sale 20th of April 2000. Back page is dedicated to Soul Reaver, great game. And yeah, that's issue number 7 of Dreamcast magazine. Hope that was a nice trip down memory lane for you, or if you didn't see it the first time round, a nice enlightening YouTube video. Now you can go and look at something more worthwhile, like I don't know, cats being sat on by somebody. Actually, no, don't do that because that's inciting animal cruelty. I'm going to stop now before I get any deeper down this hole. Right, thanks for watching. Goodbye.